Hello everyone and a hearty welcome to Putting Nutrition First in Zambia with me, Josie Perry. On the show today, Freddie Mubanga from the National Food and Nutrition Commission talks to us about nutrition in the community. For our recipe segment, we have what I'm calling a power-packed recipe. And when we get there, you will understand why I'm saying so. On Movers and Shakers, we have a very bubbly and exciting person who has spent over 3 decades in the field of nutrition. Her name is Grace Moshibwe. We'll be back right after this. From a nutrition point of view, eating a variety of food plays a very important role in improving one's nutritional status, especially that no single food has all the nutrients we require packed into it. Pregnant women, those who are carrying the next generation, need it to nourish themselves as well as the babies in their wombs. Since the baby's nutrition is totally dependent on what the mother eats, it follows therefore that a poor and limited diet during pregnancy will result in a low birth weight child who is likely to be stunted. After 6 months of exclusive breastfeeding where the child is fed on mother's nourishing milk alone, nutritionists recommend that semi-solid foods be introduced, but these mustn't be limited in variety. It is at this crucial time and at weaning where parents must get it right or malnutrition could set in. Let us see what community members from Kapara Agricultural Camp and other places are doing to achieve food diversity.
Ndiponso chachikulu nchakuti vakudya vane afunika kudyesa vana vawo tiyesese panjira iliyonse yakuti vinkhaleni vakuti tivipeza kuno kwathu kuminzi. Vakudya tili navo but kambiri timaoneka kuti sitiziwa mwina kuti tingavisenzese munjira ya bwanji ndiponso sitiziwa kuti kapena ubwino wa vakudya ivi ni ubwino wa bwanji. So zapeza kuti vazimayi kambiri na azibambo ngati valima kuno waenda kugulisa ku town. So pakubwera pa sani, I think ni chinthu chakuti chatithandizirako kuti naise monga vakukhala vaku agriculture tipite pasogolo pakuwaphunzisa abantu kuti vakudya vene valima nde vakudya vamene mzimayi ali na pakati ndiponso udya mwana wamene abadwa angayambe kudya kusasenzesa ndalama zambiri.
In order for food to reach our tables, it must be produced, and this is where agriculture in all its forms comes in. Under the Scaling Up Nutrition program, citizens in different parts of the country are engaged in various activities that are helping them achieve food diversity, to improve nutrition in their families, as well as earn an income to meet other basic needs. Land and water are being put to maximum use. The results at community level speak for themselves. All that remains is for families to expand their production and to spread the good news. The knock-on effect at national level promises a bouquet of health, nutrition, improved family incomes, and a whole lot more. After all, variety is the spice of life. And it's now time for our interview where we shall speak to Freddie Mubanga from the National Food and Nutrition Commission. Freddie, welcome to Putting Nutrition First in Zambia.
Thank you, Josie.
As a curtain raiser, just tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
I'm a nutritionist by profession, and I work for the Food and Nutrition Commission as head of Public Health and Community Nutrition Unit, and I'm also coordinating the first 1,000 Most Critical Days program.
Since you're involved in community nutrition, you're right there in the grassroots.
Yeah. Of course, we are using different soldiers that are down on the ground that we work with to ensure that our programs are up and running.
Thank you. So please explain to us what nutrition interventions are happening in Zambia.
Okay. First and foremost, I would like to remind you that the causes of malnutrition are many and complex. And as such, to deal with this problem, you need multiple interventions. Through the national program of the first 1,000 most critical days, this is the period from when the woman conceives until the child reaches its second birthday. So during this period, we target certain behaviors or certain interventions to deal with certain practices and behaviors. For example, during pregnancy, we expect that the mothers receive very good care through their antenatal services. They receive their iron, folic supplements. They are regularly checked in terms of how they are performing, in terms of how the pregnancy is progressing. We ensure that they are prevented from malaria, and we ensure that they eat adequate food from different food groups, because we cannot get nourishment from one single food. So we target interventions also when the child is born. And those are the interventions that include breastfeeding promotion, exclusive breastfeeding, and at some point breastfeeding is not adequate. We promote now what we call complementary feeding. And also during the first year of life, the child would need to be fed adequately using different kinds of foods. The child needs to be closely monitored in terms of how they are performing in terms of growth.
Sure.
We also have to give what we call vitamin A supplementation and deworming. And we also have to make sure that the children are also prevented from diarrhea diseases, for example, which is also not good.
Right.
And we also ensure that the environment in which the children are growing is clean.
Now, what you've described here looks like a really holistic approach. Now, what does it take? I'm sure you're not working in isolation as the NFNC.
Exactly, just as you have rightly put it. We are working actually with about 7 ministries. In terms of, if, for example, us, we may educate that you need to eat several foods from these food groups. There should be somebody to ensure that the foods are available, they are brought on the table. And that's where the Minister of Agriculture, the Minister of Fisheries and Livestock come in to ensure that there's availability of different kinds of foods. Coming to hygiene and sanitation, to prevent diarrhea, we need the Minister of Health and the Minister of Water, Development and Sanitation. So those are key in ensuring that there's provision of clean water as well as hygiene, as well as good sanitation. Then we also have the Minister of Community Development and Social Services. We understand that there are certain families that are really vulnerable and they require adequate attention in terms of empowerment, through empowerment initiatives such as, FSA Food Security Park. We're talking of women empowerment initiatives. Right. So those are key to make sure that they deal with issues of raising income for the households to acquire different kinds of foods. The education is key. We have to educate. We have to, transmit nutrition knowledge to the general population. So that's very key.
Now, talking about the general population here, you get they get all these messages coming from different sectors. Don't they get information fatigue?
Precisely. I think that is where the Food and Nutrition Commission comes in, because we have a unit, the Nutrition Education and Communications unit, that plays a role in ensuring that the messages are harmonized. And to that effect, we've produced materials with harmonized messages. For example, we have a book that we call Frontline Workers Reference Guide. It includes a lot of programs, and we've harmonized the messages. And that's what we'd like to see. And of course, it's very important that we bring stakeholders that are involved in disseminating nutrition information, that we speak one language.
Right. But how easy is it to get people to do what you are prescribing or suggesting for them?
If we say at community level, what has helped to change behavior is people are seeing the good things that are coming out when they implement or they put into practice from what they've learned. From the 11 districts that we are implementing, from the 14 districts that we are implementing the first 1,000 most critical days, I can attest that the community, the households, they have really come out in the open to say this program has really opened our minds, and we didn't know that this problem actually we can handle it from within our resources and the knowledge that we have.
And to this day, do you have any evidence to show that you're making a meaningful impact?
Oh yes, we've actually collected quite a number of success stories. There's in the area of fish farming, how fish farming has been promoted. We have areas where we have people preparing different kinds of recipes using the available foods that they have, because they, previously they thought what they had cannot be used to make up a good or a nutritious meal for the child, for the pregnant woman, and for the family. So there are those concrete, real stories that we can share with the general public.
Are there any lessons that you have learned, especially under the 1,000 Most Critical Days program that you implemented recently?
Yes, actually, we have learned quite a lot, and this is what prompted us actually to now generate what we call the second phase of the 1,000 Most Critical Days. And the emphasis is to roll out. We've really come up with good practices that need to be promoted, using with minimal resources at the household. So we are now in the phase of rolling out most of these interventions to different parts of the country.
Let me ask you this one question. Mostly when it comes to health and nutrition issues, the men folk are, excuse the word, a problem. What are you doing to encourage male involvement?
That's a good question, Josie. And again, I can refer to the 11 districts or 14 districts where we are implementing, because the emphasis, we were saying, we need men to be involved. And you would be happy to see how our men folk are actually participating actively, even in the promotion of, for example, diverse diets, in the promotion of breastfeeding. The men folk are there because they've seen that there are good benefits in actually advancing nutrition interventions. So male involvement is very key in all the interventions that we are promoting under the 1,000 Most Critical Days.
Are there any traditional leaders, for example, who are championing this cause?
Yes. For us to actually deal with this problem, we realize that we need some champions. And of course, we have a number of chiefs that have come out to really promote nutrition. For example, in Mwinilunga, I happened to discuss with Chief Chibuika, who has actually been promoting the production of diverse crops and is really involved in ensuring that the nurseries for fruits are grown, for vegetables, and households are actually benefiting from that. Again, we also have another chief, Chief Kanyama, who has been instrumental in promoting fish farming. And he has also promoted livestock production, like small livestock, chicken, goats. So we have those that we're really using to, help us, get the message across and to mobilize people to demand for these nutrition services.
Thank you very much, Freddie. Time does fly when you are talking of very pertinent and important things to the nation, so we'll have to end our interview here. I'd like to thank you for coming on to the show, and I hope to host you again soon so that we talk about the phase 2 of the Most Critical Days program.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
That was our guest for today, Freddie Mubanga from the National Food and Nutrition Commission, the man who's in charge of the first 1,000 Most Critical Days program. It's now time for movers and shakers in nutrition. And today, I'd like you to meet quite a warm, bubbly, and overtly positive person whose claim to fame is that she has been working in the nutrition sector for a little more than 3 decades. Yes, her name is Grace Mushibwe, and she describes herself as a mother, a wife, an administrator, an academician, and at the heart of it all, a humanitarian. Meet this lady now.
My name is Grace Banda Mushibwe. I am married. I'm a mother of 3 sons. And at heart, I'm a nutritionist. I really feel like I was born a nutritionist. By training, I'm a nurse. I'm a humanitarian aid worker. But then I zero in on nutrition of children, of pregnant women, and of adolescents. I have been in a profession of nutrition for the past 30 years, even as I worked as a theater nurse on the operating table. People were wondering what I was doing in the Breastfeeding Association of Zambia. Every afternoon I attended the Breastfeeding Association of Zambia meetings at the University Teaching Hospital. Over and above, I also did some management courses, project management courses within Zambia and abroad in Denmark. I also furthered that with a master's degree in humanitarian aid and international cooperation. So, but then my heart still remains with nutrition, because all these years while I've been doing all these studies, I've also been working in an international NGO, the International Baby Food Action Network, at the helm of the network in Zambia as a project coordinator. That's a tall one. We are different people in this house, and everybody with their own different taste buds. But over and above, each and every meal that we have green vegetables, we have kala, we have cassava, we have vegetables with groundnuts, we have okra, we have fish. Once in a while we do have beef, but then it's not something you'd walk in like every day you find us with beef. Let me bring you closer to what nutrition is all about. It's about variety.
It's now time for our recipe. Did you know that millet is power-packed? Yes, it is. That's because it contains B vitamins, which are responsible for giving you energy. It is also a good source of fiber, which is good and essential for good digestion. Clearly, millet is more nutritious than maize grain. That's what I say, at least. Now, here's our recipe on millet porridge. It's so yummy. And that was our recipe on millet porridge. I hope you try it out and drop me a line and tell me how it's tasted. On that delicious note, we end this edition of Putting Nutrition First in Zambia. I hope to be with you in the next program as you digest all that you have learned today. For my colleagues in the production crew, this is Josie Piri saying goodbye.
Nutrition is the heart of a nation, yes. It's the engine of a healthy land. Good nutrition